My name is Emmanuel, and welcome to the Goodly Podcast. Thank you for riding along with us over the past few weeks. We've started the podcast in February, and you guys have just been phenomenal. So this is the Goodly Podcast one more time, and it's proudly brought to you by the Youth Fellowship in City of David, Canterbury. And in today's episode, we shall be shining the spotlight on people who make life beautiful. I think they add color to life. They make our lives better. They make our lives easier and pleasurable. And ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about our mothers. And wherever you are on the face of the planet, happy International Women's Day to you and to yours. And men, I just hope you celebrate the women in your life. And I'm not alone today. I've got my brother sitting just next to me. He's a brother and a friend. I'll let him introduce himself anyways.
Yeah, thank you, viewers. My name is Ina Okpa. So I'm doing my PhD at the University of Kent. I'm doing accounting and robotics. I'm in the second year of my PhD. I think that's just all I want to say about myself. Thank you.
Okay, then he forgot to tell you, or he doesn't want to tell you, just got married. Yes. So he's made me the only single person talking today. He betrayed me. But God is good. God is good to me every time. So, and like I said earlier, we're not alone. We've got our beautiful, wonderful moms with us today. And I'll just let them introduce themselves, starting from my right to my left. And please.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, guys. My name is Missy Omotosho Sonia. I am a mother of one. I'm happily married to one husband. I currently work in regulatory finance. My background is in pharmacy, but I work in finance now. Oh. And I've been married for 10 years. It's going to be 10 years in July.
Ooh, a decade.
Yes.
Wow, nice.
Wow.
Me? Okay. Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Chinelo Madumere. Yes, I'm married to a husband of one as well. I've been married for, it's going to be 16 years in November. And I'm a mother of 4. I've got a 14-year-old teenager. We can hear about that later. I've got a 12-year-old and I've got 11 and then a 9-year-old daughter. And I am a senior practitioner in adult social care in Kent. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that leaves me. My name is Bingpe Kunlikpe. I'm happily married as well. And I've got 2 girls. One is 9, going on 14, 15, 16. You know, and the other one is 11. I'm a pharmacist by profession and I own my own pharmacy.
Wow.
Anyway, before we move on, I just want to say you guys look too young for all the years, all the experiences you have. You know, when you write a CV and then I've got 10 years been married, like your CV, like really, you look younger. That's good. God's glory is just radiant upon you. So I think the first phase of our conversation will be to explore motherhood via your experiences with your moms. So we want to see what was motherhood like. I mean, when you just reflect on your mom, and then we'll be asking some questions for us to explore that better. So I just want to ask: Did you live and grew up with your mom around, and what was it like, and what was the experience like? What was your mom's personality like? Was it the kind of mom that would say, if you go out, if she sent you on an errand? I was brought up in Nigeria, you must bring your change back home. If money gets lost, man, you are in trouble. You must account for every single penny. What was it like growing up with your mom? Anybody?
Yeah, so I have 6 sisters. So we're all 7 together. And so my mom was the disciplinarian. My dad was the good cop, essentially. But my mom, my goodness, she didn't have a boy. So you can imagine she used hard hand on all of us. Even though we grew up here, she didn't really care. You can call the police. She would still smack you. She would still use the wooden spoon. But out of all of that, she was very loving and selfless and caring. So we knew that even though she would punish, she would still show the love. I really love my mom. I'm very similar to her, I think, out of everybody. But yeah, it was the typical African parental upbringing from my mom's side. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, for me, I grew up in Nigeria, so yeah. I've got 4 siblings, 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm the last in my house, so I'm kind of the baby of the house for my mom. She, let me see, my mom, she's also a disciplinarian. She's quite autocratic. Yeah, we grew up that if I tell you to do something, you do it. So there's no, oh, mommy, why? Like we hear now with our children. So she was, at the same time, she's a very loving mom. She made a lot of sacrifice for us, growing up. But yeah, she was very tough. She's tougher than my dad. But I think I got the less end of it because I'm the last. But the other ones, so I think they're the one that she was smack them with big cane, and she was smack. She would use stick on me, this tiny broomstick, and I would still be like shouting like, hey! But yeah, but she was very, she was a disciplinarian growing up. But I am grateful for it in a way, because she's someone that, if you go out, she stays to be back by 7 o'clock, you better be back by 7 o'clock. So yeah, she was very loving. She's still very loving, and I love her.
Yeah, I mean, mine is different. My mom was the good cop. My mom was the don't smack. She doesn't smack. My mom's the one that would hide us, But even with all of that, she still makes sure that she tells us when we're going wrong, and she's the one that would repeat it. And maybe in 5 years' time, she'll say, 5 years ago, that thing that you did, have you changed? But yeah, she was the good cop. She's the, I don't smack one. And yeah, very loving, very, she just, yeah, I mean, that's what I can say about her. She just cares for us, and she's the one that would hide us and shield us and try and cover, but at the same time, she will bring it up and tell you, if you've done wrong and, how you can make it right. And she would make sure that she talk about that thing again. Have you changed? Are you doing well now? Have you changed? Even at this age, even as you're grown up, she still, talk about that thing that you did, like 3 years ago. And, have you changed now? Is it still the same? That discussion we had 10 years ago, Mom, which one? Which one? So she's that one that she rather than smack, she talks and talks and talks about that thing until you would even wish that she had just smacked you and just let it go. But that was my mom.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Thank you for your experiences shared about your mom. Chinelo, you mentioned something critical about your mother being a woman who had carried out quite a lot of sacrifices for you. Particularly for me, many things stand out for my mom in my life, and it's quite difficult to look at my life now and not see the powerful role my mom played. Many years back, we really thought our lives had come to an end when our father wasn't there for us. And I can hear my mom wake up every night, put her hands on me and pray, you won't be like your father. I pray over your destiny. This woman was really there for me, and I know that my life has no bearing outside my mom. So this question is just to ask you to tell us what particular sacrifice says your mom made for you, and which one stood out for you, and why is it so relevant in your current life? I think this question is open to every person here.
Yeah. she made a lot of sacrifices, but I'll just focus on one. And so growing up, my mom, she was a teacher, retired teacher now, so you know how teachers can be. My dad was a lecturer, retired lecturer now. So I grew up in the house of teachers. But one thing, so we're not very wealthy, but my mom, she wanted us to have everything. She wanted us to have, we didn't lack anything. Why? Because my mom, she was like doing 4 jobs as a mom. She was our mom. She was a teacher then. She was doing government. She went into government as a contractor, supplying building materials to building government projects. She had a supermarket. She was running, and she also was an importer. So this is just one woman doing all. So when you talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, that's that is my mom. So she was into a lot of things, but she still tried to be present for us. So she wasn't the one that, get into all these things and then she's absent in the life of our children. So she was there when we needed her. She was there. She made herself available. She would go to, if you're doing presentation at school, she would go with us. She's there. She has people that was helping her. But I just felt that growing up, I didn't lack anything, even though we were not very wealthy. But I know if I wanted something, my mom would provide that, and she worked so hard. She made sure that we had, every shelter, we had everything that we needed. It was not in a bad, like spoiling us way, but all the basic things, all the things that we needed, we didn't lack anything, and that is something I'm up to today. I'm ever grateful for.
Fantastic! Thank you so much. Any other experience to share?
Yeah, I would say mine. So I was born in Nigeria. So till about 10, I was about 10 when we relocated. So we were 4 at the time. I think the remaining 3 were born here. And so my growing up as a child, my mom had everything. Just like Sis Chinelo said, she had a supermarket. She was also a nurse. She was doing so many things, and my dad was a pilot. And I remember that she had to leave all of that to relocate here. And you know how it is here. Like she was separated from her husband. I don't even think I can do that for like a day with 7 children. And my dad, of course, did not relocate at that time. He relocated later because obviously he was working as a captain. So he was like, he was once sending money and everything, but the fact that she had to, it's almost like put her marriage in on hold within that time because she had to separate. Of course, they made it work. They're still together probably 40-something years now. They're like my perfect role model. But yeah, I think for me, that's the biggest one, is just relocating everybody and having 7 children and just being the only one there. Even with 1 child, I see how I'm just, and I love that my husband is hands-on, and I see how like we're doing it. It's almost like 50-50 with a child. So having 7 and doing it by herself at the time, I know my dad would speak to us on the phone and, if we were reported to him, that you're going to be in trouble. But I really commend her for that. So now she's picking up. I mean, after all of us, I think 4 of us are out of the home now. There's the 3 younger ones at uni. Now she went back to school to even study more and, took on more degrees. She's trying to do a master's now. Wow. That's after how many years? 20-something years. Wow. So I really respect her for that, and I appreciate
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Emmanuel, over to you.
Okay, so very quickly, I would just like to ask that what's your the experience with your mom like? Your relationship. Sorry, I wanted to say what's the relationship with your mom like? Did it evolve at all? Because personally, I think what drew me quite closer to my mom was because I was very troublesome. I was naughty before I started. Of course, I was stealing. Don't let anybody hear. So I was stealing money. I was very, very wayward, So but she now said, Emmanuel, come over. She took me for vigil. It was just myself and we didn't go with my siblings. She just made sure it was just myself and She cautioned me, just said, Emmanuel, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's how the relationship actually evolved, and then we became slightly closer after that experience. So I would just like to understand what your own relationship with your mom has been? What does it look like? Did it change at all? Did it evolve at all? Anybody can answer that.
My relationship with my mom is just like one of a friend, a big sister. I share anything with her, and she shares anything with me. She just, sometimes she would just call me and say, what do you think? Even from Nigeria, she's based in Nigeria, I'm here. And, she can just call me and say, this thing, what do you think about, this matter? What do you think about this, And, growing up in Nigeria, I went to boarding school, so there were times when we are not together. And when I get home, I'm always looking forward to those gists. My mom, she always has like really good ones, so I'm always looking forward to, those times when I get home and, we'll just talk. And it's the same with my siblings as well, especially my brother. We've got one brother, I'm the second born, so he's the third and he's the only boy. So there are 2 girls before him and there are 2 girls after him. So, there's that, relationship where we just sit down with mom and, she talks about anything, we talk about anything. There's nothing to hide, so it's just that relationship that has been, with us even from childhood to when we grew up, even though we left Nigeria, obviously we all, got married and all of that, but we still have that same relationship that we've always had, which is, that, friendship, love and that care, that bond. So.
Oh, beautiful. Anybody else?
I think mine changed when I was much younger. I definitely thought she wasn't my mom because of the type of beatings. I was like, this woman can't be my mom. I don't know what's going on. She didn't care. Like, one of my sisters would try to go to the police. They brought her back home here. They were like, go back to your mom. And she still used the wooden spoon. So at some point I did think, so when I was much younger, I would say probably between 6, 7, I felt like I was her favorite. She used to say like, you're like me, you're very similar, we look alike. When I was about 10 to 14, I thought she wasn't my mom. As a teenager, I guess, so, she was a lot harder when I went into the teenage years. And so I thought it wasn't my mom. I said, this woman can't be my mom. You want to kill me? I must have been adopted. So then I would say when around 18, then the relationship, I would say, changed at that point, because obviously now I was an adult. So I was at uni. And so I think our relationship evolved at that time. And then when I became a mom, it went like really like that, like evolved even more. We became closer. I understand a lot more things now as a mother. I appreciate her so much now, like just being a mother. So I would say mine have changed from different phases. But yeah. Now I am proud that she's my mom.
You're good that she's your mom.
Like her. So it's like, even when I was adopted, it was a big lie. I'm literally a carbon copy. Wow.
You see it any different for you, Sister Chinela?
To be honest, I think it's been the same. I've always been close to my mom, growing up as, like I said before, the last born of the house. So we've always been quite close. My mom is, even up to now, I'm still scared of her in a way. I remember when I got married, when she came to my house in UK, because I got married, I moved to UK with my husband. So it was a very tough time for me, because I was so close to my family. So when I came here, it was just me and my husband. It was so lonely. And I was like, oh my goodness, I miss my mom. I miss my sister. But when she came to visit us for the first time, you won't even believe that I'm married. You think that I was still like her baby girl, because she will come. Have you made food for your husband? How have you not tidied up this place? But she's always been like that. So, and I love her for it. Because she wants she's somebody that she wants you to do well. My mom will always tell you the truth. So there's no partiality with my mom. So if you're a daughter, but if you do something wrong, she would she would always side my husband. So it was like, you are the wrong one, you go and apologize. So she's just always like, so I would say my relationship would have been the same, really. I grew up I was in my house, I did my uni in my house, my secondary, everything. I only left my house when I got married. So and then like maybe probably that's why there was no difference between when I was at home and when I got married, because I moved straight from my house to my husband's house. So she still sees me as, my daughter, her baby girl. She just come out, oh, you go do that. Oh, you can do that one. Have you done this one? Have you done that? But it's there's a bond there and there's a relationship that I do cherish a lot. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much for these wonderful contributions. You know, we live in a time where we see a great divide between children and their mothers, and the relationship between kids and their mothers is becoming something that is quite troubling in the global space. Of course, you have been a child and now you are a mother. So what can you tell us? How do we as young people who are listening to you this afternoon, what can you tell us as the best ways to have good working life with our parents, that children can relate with their parents? In what ways can you tell us how we can relate with our mothers more? Because you were children and you are mothers, so you have what it takes to help us understand how we can build this life with our mothers again. So in your opinion, what can you tell us is the best way children can relate with their mothers in a way that they can have build good working relationships? Yeah.
I think if I'm to start, it's that understanding, because like I've heard from my sisters, for example, for both of them, their moms were disciplinarians. They were, they were the, I won't say the bad cop now, but the other side, so. And for me, it's different. For me, it was that, she would just, talk and talk about that thing until you just don't want to hear it anymore. But one thing that we just need to understand in all of this, as a mom now, is that it's in love, she's the things that they've done, those beating. Yeah, they say don't beat your children. And, but if we remember those beatings then, those, talking about things, those, saying, no, you can't go out. You need to be back home, those curfews, you need to be back home by this time. There is a reason for it. It's out of the love of their art. There is, so sometimes when I, look at my children and some things that they do, and I'm thinking, I just wish that you understand that I'm not saying no to this thing just because, I'm being horrible or I'm being mean. It's because I can see that if you do this thing, there is trouble, that might come out of it. And that's the reason why. So I think that one thing that we need to, where we've seen, mom as that harsh, you're horrible, you were horrible to me, all of those things, we just need to just go back and think about those things and think of how we can then, rewire our mind that, it was out of the love of our art. That's why she's done those things. So at least that would be one thing that we can, think of to, if you want to make that reunion or, go back and make a remedy, so to say.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, I think what I would say is, communication is very important in every relationship, whether spousal relationship or parents-child. Communication is very important, and forgiveness as well, because their moms, they don't have it, they don't know it all. So, but they do their best like we do. I know sometimes I get it wrong with my children, and I do apologize. Say, well, I was really angry. That's why I did this. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry about it. But probably how we are parenting our children now is different from how we were parented, because my mom would never say that, even though she was in her heart. But you could see that she's a bit remorseful for what she's done, but she wouldn't really come to me and say, I'm sorry. But I know that she is. So I think it just probably that communication that we have with our children today, we lack that during their time. But I think what I will say is that we need to communicate better with them. If they hurt us, we need to let them know. We need to forgive. Because I remember telling my mom, this is my house. So you're the one in my house. So you don't come and give me command. But it's just, we play around it. And so it's having that communication. And like Sister Bim said, it's whatever they've done or maybe the thing they've gotten wrong, I think it came from a good place. It's about that their intention, the motive, because where their children it's very hard to see a mom that hates their children. I think it's just maybe maybe that's what they know. That's how they know how to parent. But it is coming from a good place. It's coming from a place of love, because they want the best for us. They might not have, it may not have come out the right way, but in them, I think they know when they get it wrong. But probably that pride and that lack of communication that is not there. But so I think for your question, it would be communication is very important. What is the motive? Relationship, let's forgiveness. If they do something wrong, don't just think because their mom, they should know everything. They don't. There's something they might get wrong. We can always forgive them, knowing that they are the one that brought us to this world. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to add to that quickly is also that because you said the divide globally now, the era we are in is where it is social media that is raising kids. So it might be a bit controversial, but I think parents, for me, the onus is on the parents to be there. You need to be present for that child. Don't just leave them down to the tablets or social media, because this is where they're getting all this sort of personalities or attitudes that is not, and then it starts to create a divide. So I feel like parents this is something we didn't have growing up. There was no social media. So I think it was a lot more clear when your parents were sort of directing. Now they're the first to record their mom shouting or whatever the mom is doing. And then of course it would start to, so unless we are sure that, look, this social media of a thing, it's not that I hate social media, but it is it's causing a lot of divides in relationships, particularly parent-child. So for the parents, most importantly is to be present and just try to break that sort of divide that may come from leaving your child to social media for the social media to raise the child. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it does.
That really makes so much sense. So I'll just go to explore or ask the things that your mom used to do or still do that you kind of wrap your head around. I couldn't wrap my head around I'll use my dad in this instance. When I was on campus, I studied in the best university in Africa.
Okay.
The only African university, that is Obafemi Awolowo University.
Wow.
You know?
That sounds like pride.
Well, you have no choice than to agree with me. Please agree with me, ma.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Are you agreeing?
She has no choice.
She has no choice, and she will be in trouble.
So what would happen then was that my dad would call me almost 10 times a day. Have you eaten? What did you eat? There's this, because he also studied in my uni. Like, oh, there's this place you should go. I'm like, man, I'm just tired of these things. I know you care, but it doesn't work for me. I don't. But there are certain things that parents will do. There's no rationale behind it. There's just, from a logical point of view, but that's just how they do their own things. So can you give any examples of the things your mom usually do? Yeah, today you still can't wrap your head around.
Well, I can't give an example, but the example I will give, I think I've wrapped my head around it now. I've become a mom.
Yeah.
But before, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And that is my mom. Oh my goodness, my mom can worry for the whole world. My mom is a warrior. She, if let's say my brother goes to another town, and then my mom hears in the news there's an accident, she'll start crying. She will call my brother. My brother doesn't pick. She will just start crying. He's in that bus. He's in that bus. He just
without verifying.
Without verifying.
Fantastic.
And it's just really I was like, he might be busy, or if something that she just worries about every single thing. And it used to drive us crazy then. We used to always make fun of her for that. My sister would always make fun of, oh, mommy, did you see the news? There was something that she was like, oh my goodness, what? So, yeah, but then I became a mom. I was like, oh, so this is why this woman was, this is why she was like this, because I'm the mom. I wouldn't say I'm a warrior, but maybe, but obviously we try to have faith because we're Christians, but still as a mom you do worry. My level hasn't even reached half of her level, but I think I get it now why she's she was like that. Up to now she still worries. Up to that, she will, if she calls me, if she hears during COVID, oh my goodness, my mom, when you heard people were dying in UK, my mom will come every single day. Are you okay? Are you breathing well? Are you doing this one? Are you do you have cold? She knows all the symptoms of COVID because she wants to check on her. I know she loves us, she wants to, but she worries a lot. So that's the example I can think of.
I still can't wrap my head around this, and I'm not gonna, it's TMI. So as I said, my mom is a nurse, and she had 7 girls. So she would check It's cringy me saying it, but basically she would check that we were all virgins up until 21. I still can't we still have the conversation today. Mom, why did you do that? Like, what's the point? You know, but yeah, she was so adamant to make sure all of our daughters were up until it's TMI, but yeah, let's move on quickly.
Do you want to share anything else,
For me, the one that I love my mom for that is the fact that she remembers certain things that, she'll tell you, when you were 17 and, you said this and you said, I don't remember. I don't remember, it's the same for me and my siblings. Honestly, that's one thing that, it always amuses us. Like, how did mom remember that thing? And she would tell you that conversation, word for word. She would even tell you the date, she can even tell you the time that it happened. You're like, I don't remember. So yeah, I think that's one thing about my mom that's, very interesting.
Yeah. Fantastic conversations. Thank you again for all these contributions. I remember many years back, I had told my mom, if I don't see a girl that looks like you, I wouldn't get married. Yeah. If I don't see a girl that resembles you, I wouldn't get married. For me, mom was the only picture of any good thing in this world. That's because of the qualities I saw my mom exhibit and exhume. When no one was there for her, she made sure that we never were in the cold. She made sure that we had food to eat. She suffered and labored all through to ensure that we had what we needed. When I look at her, I see so much strength and so much courage. And I told myself, I said, Mom, if there's no girl like you in this world, don't expect me to get married. I had to share this story because I believe there are qualities that your mom has that you would like to imitate or that you have imbibed over the years. So we just want to hear your experiences of what these qualities are about your mom that really stand out for you, that you have really looked at as a key strength that has helped you and that you are also exhibiting as a mom now for your own children. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say the spiritual side is something that I got from my mom. That woman is so spiritual. And so that's something that I love and I emulate from her because it gives you the spiritual standing for all of our children. But even till this day, like spiritually, she's always praying as a Christian. When I say spiritually, as a Christian, she would pray and just make sure that we were just all up to date when it comes to our spirituality and our relationship with God. I would also say that her go-getter spirit, that's why even now I feel like I'm a go-getter because of her. And when I say go-getter in such a way that it feels like there's nothing my mom cannot achieve. Once she's determined, like she has done, I don't know, so many things in this world that I'm just like, so anything she sets her mind on, she goes for it. So she brought us up with the mindset of you can do anything. And sometimes it can be like too much for some people, but obviously for me, I'm like, if I put my mind to something, I'm going to achieve it because that's just the way my mom has brought us up. So I like that go-getter personality and the spirituality side.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. Yeah, for me, there's a lot of qualities, but I think the one I will talk about is my mom. She loves to feed people, so she loves to cook and she loves to feed, and I'm exactly like that. So, so that's I love to cook, I love to bake, I love to feed. So I took that quality from her. And another one is my mom. She's the most selfless person. One of the most selfless people that I've ever met. She will sacrifice her own for others. She just wants everybody else to be okay. Once everybody else is okay, she's okay. She might not able. Once everyone has eaten, she's fine. And I think that's something I also try to emulate, because caring that she cares so much about other people. My mom will. Like, for example, in our village, she will, once she get her salary, most times she might use it to just go and give to the to the motherless, or she'll just use it to buy something for this family that's struggling. So she's just charity. She's full of charity. And and she's also, like you said, but she's so full of strength. She doesn't get tired. Sometimes just like, oh God, where do you get this strength from? And she's from there to there to there, from there. But I think I would be like that as well. Yeah. My mother was there, go and sit down. because I can stand. I love to. I'm somebody. I don't like to be idle. I love to always be busy. Something my mom would tell me, do you know sitting down doing nothing is actually not a sin? That's what he would say to me sometimes. Just sit down, do nothing. Okay, but I get uncomfortable when I do that. So but I'm learning because it's good. You need to also, you need to rest, you need to look after yourself. Self-care is quite important. But my mom, she's like that. She's from there to there. She's always active. And I think I get that as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I think I share with, my sisters as well, where my mom, oh dear, she works really hard. She's just that one that I feel she was around the clock, So all the time that, I was with her at, when I was in Nigeria, she was always working, she works as in a newspaper company. She has her own, supermarket that she's running. So she's always, working. And I think that's where I got that.
We see that very well.
that one from, I don't know what is rest, what is not working, or even looking for other things. My mom would still ask me, are you looking for other things to support what you're doing? Mommy, no, this one is major, So there is that. And there's also the beat, where I said, she was the good cop of our house. I feel like I'm also, I do that as well. I try to cover the girls, sometimes, because I look at them and say, if you're daddy hears this thing, and I know that he will find out. So I try to quickly go and tell him before he finds out and, try to calm things down, just so that don't worry, I've dealt with it. What did I do? Nothing. But, I just try to cover them. Don't worry about, this is what's happened, but don't worry, I've dealt with it. It's sufficiently dealt with, and also the bits where, my mom, talks about something that's happened and, try to make you understand, what happened there, what did you do, what are you going to do differently and stuff like that. So even though I didn't really like it, I find myself doing the same with my girls and, like Shan, my eldest, nowadays, for the past 2 weeks, I've been taking her to school. So I take her to school, drop her to school before going to work. And those times I just treasure those times because those are the times where I'm able to pick up things. Yesterday you talked about, this thing that happened in school. So, what's happening now? What are you going to do differently? Or, I look at her marks, for example, and, there's the bits that she's still, trying to work on. And I'm just reminding her, so what are you going to do differently? Are you going to study? So, yeah, I'm planning to go to study with my friends. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. So I'm using that opportunity of taking her to school every day to talk about things, remind her of some really past things that she has forgotten, and I'm like, and you're like, remember, this and that, and so I find out that these are the things that my mom used to do, and even though I didn't like it then, now I appreciate, and it's the same thing that I'm doing with my girls as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Over to you, Emmanuel.
Well, okay, good. So I believe you've heard a lot about your moms, your experiences with your moms. I just want us to not discuss your experience as moms. So what has it been like? What has the journey looked like? That's what we'll be talking about right now. And then we can call it second half, isn't it? Second half of the Super Bowl. So we just want to talk about just give us as a single guy, when I talk about relationship, there is a different thought we would have when we were still teenagers before we entered the relationship. There's a certain perception that we had, and then things changed when I entered the relationship. Like, man, so it's not like what people said. So because every person is different, so then you begin to learn and unlearn. So, but as moms, what was motherhood like to you before you became a mom? And as it evolved, as that knowledge, as that perception changed over time? So that's just what I want us to talk about.
For me, it has changed. My view and perspective of motherhood is completely different. I thought it would be like a walk in the park, like literally just take, it's fine, you just give birth and that's it. My mom made it look so easy with 7 girls. I have just one daughter. I've been in the game for just about 2 years, so they are more obviously experienced. It's been hard. Let me just say it's not as easy as I thought. And my daughter is also quite special in a way. So there's a lot more work required and in such a way that I've never seen before. But I'm grateful to God that, myself and my husband are pulling through. But it's hard. The childbirth, the giving birth, the pregnancy, it was completely opposite to what I had imagined or have been told by people, So the pregnancy was quite hard. I was literally throwing up throughout the entire pregnancy. I had the morning sickness for the entire pregnancy, even though some people say it's supposed to be just the start. So that was my first introduction to motherhood. It wasn't very pleasant, but of course the joy, which they will probably attest to, when you have the child, the joy is you can't explain it. So in my experience, motherhood is like, it's so big and wider than I had imagined. And it's great. It's a great feeling. I feel like just looking at my daughter gives me this joy that I can't explain. Unless you're a mother, I feel like it would be so difficult to understand. But yeah, my perspective was different. But in my experience, I feel like it encompasses, like it's just the whole world. It's like literally everything. Once you're a mother, you're like the world to that child. That's how I feel about it.
So yeah, what was your perception like before, and how has it changed, if it has changed at all?
For me, I don't know what my perception was before. It was it's a bit strange because for me, I waited 5 years before my first daughter came. So everything that I wanted when I got married, everything I wanted was just a child. And, I just want that baby. I just want that child. When that child comes, we'll start to figure out the remaining. But all that was, everything that was on my mind was, I just want a child. And as soon as she came, it was like, oh, wow, yeah, yeah, this is the child. And as they grow, it's changes, of course they start from that bit where, they're not talking and you just stare at them and you're looking at, this baby and you're the one, you're doing everything. And, there are times when they're crying and you just want to understand why they're crying, so there's quite, there's quite a lot, from before you have a baby to after you have a baby. There's a lot that you just have to process in your mind. There's a lot that you have to try and figure out, but it comes, I don't know about you, my sisters, but it comes naturally as you go on, how to deal with something, how to, deal with this. It just comes to you naturally. And for me, it's, I mean, these few days for me, sometimes, I get back home from work very tired, and all I just want to do is to just, maybe just get home and just, just eat and just go to bed. But you have to spend time with them because they always have something to say. There is always, especially my youngest Aura, she just wants to, even sometimes all she just wants is just to be beside you and just to cuddle and just to, nothing much to say, but just to cuddle and be around you. And you just have to, just understand that as well. So, what I'm saying, there's a lot, so as they grow, you will just keep, trying to understand what's going on, but then it comes to us naturally as mothers. It does.
Yeah, what I can add to that is, I think I was a bit like, I'm not sure because I wasn't even ready to get married in the first place. I felt like I don't want to get married now. I want to do a lot of things. I just came out from uni straight, but God spoke, and obviously we have to go. So God said, get married. This is your husband. I did. So I wasn't thinking motherhood was the last thing on my mind, or how motherhood going to be. But I looked forward to her because the relationship I have with my mom is good. So I, I can do this. I can do this. So when I got married, we're like, okay, we're gonna wait a few years. We just came here. Said 2 months, I got pregnant. So there was nothing like waiting a few years. So it was just pam, 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 pam. And then obviously I became a mom. Everything changed. But I think one thing I will say, my perception, what's changed for me, when you have a child, when you become a mom, that's when you for me, that's when I kind of understand more the love that God has for us. So that parent-child love, there's no like, I think it helped me understand, because I love my kids, I love my children, and it just, no matter what they do, no matter what they do, no matter who they are, no matter what they, so he helped me understand the love God has for us as His children, and I think God in it. But that is what I would say about my experience of motherhood has changed. Before, I probably might not. Maybe God loves us, that's fine. But I put it more into perspective when I became a mom, and so the type of love I have for my children, that unexplainable love that you have, that God has for us, and He helped me to make sense of that love.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that the next question is quite beautiful, but just before I ask this question, I remember when last year when I heard it clearly, get married, and I'm like, how do I tell my parents that their son is going to get married? There was no plan. We had no discussion with my parents. The plan was to finish my PhD and then I get married, and I'm just in the first year of my PhD, and then God interrupts me and God tells me get married. It was quite hard. How do I even approach my parents? How do I call them and say, Mom, your son wants to get married? It was that difficult for me. And it took me another 2 months of reading books, of praying, of talking to God to be able to know how to approach them. So this is quite a question I want to relate with when you found out you were pregnant. How were you able to relate this with your husbands? Of course, our stories are all different as it pertains to a childbirth. Like you, Ma, you said you guys went to wait for some time, and after 2 months you realized you were pregnant. Pastor Bimpe had some years before she got pregnant. So how did you relate this with your husband? How did you share this experience? Oh, I'm pregnant, to your husband, and how was the feeling?
Mine, wow. Because of course, as I mentioned earlier that, we waited 5 years. And
sorry to cut short, was the waiting deliberate? Or
no,
you
it
were
wasn't
looking
deliberate.
Okay.
We were looking up to God. We prayed, we fasted, we did, we did everything that we can to have a baby until that 50, when God said, okay, this is the time that you will have your baby. So it was God's time, and so we thank God for that. But so when I found out that I was pregnant, I was like, oh wow, is this real? Is it is this real? Is it not? So of course I called my husband. He was at work, but it was like, oh wow, so he just left work. He wasn't, I think he was meant to be at work till 6 o'clock. This was about 2 o'clock, and he just packed his bag and everything, and literally, he left work, and but obviously I had to stay till the end of my shift at work. And so what we did was we went to the doctor, because we had waited 5 years, so we were both like confused. It's not possible. We did the first test, it was positive. This the second one, and I remember we still, with that doubt, we still went to the doctor, and we said to the doctor, we did a test, and the test says that you're pregnant. And even the doctor said, look, that when you do a test, if it shows that you're pregnant, then you are. If he says you're not pregnant, then it's possible that if he says you're not pregnant, then it's possible that you are pregnant. But if he says you're pregnant, then you are. Oh dear, that was the word. It was as though but that was what we needed. And that was I just remember that day we got home and we were so happy, and dancing and rejoicing, and yeah, so it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah, when it happened.
Sister Missy, do you want to go next before Chinelo?
Yes, mine. Yours is like 2 months, isn't it? So yeah, mine is similar to Pastor Bingpe's. So I met my husband at 21 at uni, actually before we got married, and then got married at 25. So we've known each other for a long time, and of course we had plans. At 21, of course we were dating or whatever. No, I don't want to have babies. No way. Getting married at 25. Of course I don't want to have babies. So I remember for the first few years we we were exploring and having and enjoying ourselves because we thought we were God, and we thought that if we made plans and say in the next 3 years we're ready to have babies would come. So we thought we were God. And so, of course, we traveled the world and just was exploring as a young, youth or whatever. And then 3 years after, we started trying. And this baby wasn't coming. We call it TTC, I think, trying to conceive, for women that are trying to conceive. And shout out to you women. God is going to do it at the right time. But yeah, so we started trying to conceive, I think just about 3 years, actively trying, I would say just about 2-3 years, and it wasn't happening. And yeah, and you can imagine, remember I was talking about spirituality earlier, being brought up with the mindset that in fact you get married as a virgin once you're ready to have a baby. In fact, if you touch a man, you get pregnant. That's how I was brought up. So to wait, and then of course I did not understand I don't know how to explain it, but the whole sexual being of a woman, I didn't understand. I'd never done any tests. But yes, we waited in the end for about 7 years. I did not conceive at all. It's even it's different if you even conceive and then something, and then 7 years, not once did I conceive. I was devastated. I started to get depressed, because like she said, all you want, because again, I don't know, this might be again controversial, but I guess we need to be at that point where we don't just all think we want to have children. Like everyone, I feel like the way we've been brought up is just you get married, you have kids, you finish uni, like I said, you finish uni, get married, have kids. So of course, when the kids wasn't happening, we started to struggle and we thought something was wrong with us. And of course, every African person you meet would say, when is the baby coming now? Womb watchers. And it was a tough. Oh no, it was a tough period. And I must chime this in. When you see a new couple, never ask them about when the baby is coming. Please don't say we want to come and eat jollof rice or whatever. Okay, now back to the conversation. I'm so sorry.
That is good deliverance for me.
I'm so sorry, but that's like my experience was like that. Like I was asking, they were praying for me, barrenness and all the prayers was happening. But the 7 years was really hard. So you can imagine. And then my father-in-law had passed on the 7th year of our marriage, and so we went to Nigeria, and we hadn't been to Nigeria since we got married. I haven't been for many years, and we went to Nigeria, and we came back, and I started feeling sick. Imagine going through all the stress of the Nigerian weather, the Nigerian country, the ceremony, but it was in the midst of that we got pregnant. So I came back and I started feeling sick, and I thought I had maybe caught something from Nigeria, and then I did a test by myself. Because of course, as a woman trying to conceive, I have so many. That's the first thing you can relate, right? So the first thing is taking peed on it. Really? Sorry, TMI. I don't know why I always give TMI, but anyways, did the process, and the thing was positive. I was like, this is impossible. I did. I was so excited. Confused. So I did more. I did like 3 different types. I had 3 different brands because I just wanted to be extra sure, and everything came back positive. So I was ecstatic. I was so excited. Packed it all up, cleaned it up, obviously, put it in a big box, a present box, waiting. Yeah, like I even recorded him. Like I was like, this is gonna be great. And then he came. My husband came, and I was just like, I have a gift for you. I was just like, what's wrong with this one? You've started. I gave him the gift. He opened it, and he was like, are you pregnant? This says pregnant. I said yes. He was so excited. He jumped up, and then he said, of course, we had to go to the hospital to confirm. We went to the hospital, and it was positive, and the rest is history.
Beautiful.
Sister Chinelo, anything you want to add?
Yeah, from me.
Let's hear it.
I think my mom lived it before me. Honestly, mine is so boring. After this amazing testimony, I don't think you want to hear mine. Honestly. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Okay, when you had your 4th child, what was the story like?
Exactly, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, like when you discovered you were pregnant with the 4th child.
Okay. Well, the first one, to be honest with you, I missed my period. I missed my period. I told my husband, my period comes. Okay, let me go and get this thing for you. I think you might be pregnant. I said, okay then. Well, I was like, okay, I thought we were waiting. Well, if it happened, it happened. That was the first one. But my 4th one, probably that's the one that because when we got married, my husband said he wanted 3 boys and a girl. And I said, yeah, who is having 4 children? I was like, you're on your own. I don't want to have 4 children. I want to have 3. I said, I want to have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. He was like, okay, we'll see what God will do. Then I had 3 boys, like all 18 months apart. Wow. And to be honest with you, we didn't plan it that way. It just happened that way. So I said, okay, you know what? Okay. Because I did it. When I was having my kids, I didn't work. I was a stay-at-home mom. So I wanted to look after my kids at that age. Like, okay, now I'm ready. When I had my boy, he's 10 now. I said, now I'm ready to go back to my career. That was wrong. I was a stay-at-home, but I was doing my program, my social work program. So when I finished my social work program, I didn't work for a while because I wanted them to get to start nursery before I go to work. Just they can have I can be present for them. So when I finished and I was ready to to go back and start my career, all of a sudden. Speechless. That's all I can say. I was like, what happened? I didn't talk to my husband for 1 month. I blamed him. It's his fault, I was like, you're the one that said you wanted 4 children. To be honest, I didn't talk to him for weeks. I was so angry with him as if he's the one that did it on his own. I was like, it's your fault. You're the one that did all this thing. You're the one that caused it. And so it was quite a stressful time in our marriage. And then what I said to God, I said, well, this has happened. It better be a girl. Because I've had 3 boys. If you wanted me to have this, it had to be a girl. My husband now went into fasting and prayer. I will forgive you if it's a girl. If it's a girl, me and you will fight every day in this house. So he went and started 100 days fasting and prayer for that to be a girl. And he was like, this child is going to be a girl. And God did it. So the 4th one probably wasn't because that it's obviously opposite of your story because I was really down. I wasn't depressed, but I was really down. I was when you're ready to get into the your career and start up, and then it happened, and this is another 2 years you're gonna be at home because they say you can't go back to work when I had to stay home for another 2 years. But we give God all the glory. I got my girl at the end, so thank God.
Fantastic story. Over to you, Emmanuel.
I guess my last question from myself would be, of course, motherhood means different things to different people. My perception as a single person will be introduction to motherhood will be sleepless nights, and when the baby comes, it will mean sacrifice. It will mean probably ability to adjust your personality, just let go of certain things just to focus on that child. So motherhood means different things to different people. It might mean being a good communicator to someone else. It means a lot. So what does good motherhood mean to you? Actually, what does it mean to you? That's just my last question.
Okay. Right. If I'm to start, I would start with not being guilty. Okay. I don't know how that fits into that question, but that's what comes to mind in that, when you were asking that question, because for a long time, I felt really guilty, but I'm out of it now, but I felt really guilty. And what made me feel guilty is the fact that I was working a lot. And I think that for children, the way they would define a good mother is one that is always around. One that when they are crying, for example, you're there to wipe away their tears. When they're hungry, you're there to, quickly give them food, fix something, when they want, you're always there, but for a long time, I felt very, very guilty of not being there for them. I felt very guilty of always working, working long hours. I'll come home, maybe leave home by the time, I'll probably just say hello to them, maybe just quick prayer with them, go to work. By the time I come back from work, they are in bed. And I remember, there are a few times when I used to work till like 10:30. I noticed my eldest, for example, she would intentionally stay awake. I'm expecting her to be in bed, but she would intentionally stay awake. And then I'll open the door and I would hear the footstep. Oh, those things used to break my heart, because I'm like, you should be in bed. And the way I want to really speak to her at the time is that you really should be sleeping right now. But it's just, that organ, are you okay? Is everything okay? But there was always that guilt. But obviously, things got better, work patterns changed and all. But what I just want to, say to maybe working moms out there as well is that, just try and find the balance, especially in UK where we're in UK now. In UK, there is that we have to work, and shift pattern is different for people depending on the work that you do, but it's just that striking that balance. I said earlier as well about the fact that lately I get back home from work very tired, and all I just want to do is just eat and go to bed. But I still have to, find that strength, and that strength will come, if you're being intentional, it will come, and sometimes she's, like I think that, I think it was a couple of days ago, my youngest was beside me and she was just, obviously hugging, and I was there, falling asleep until I slept off. I don't know when she walked away, but it's just that finding that balance, because you have to do what you have to do. You have to work, you have to do this, you have to do that, but it's just striking that balance. Make sure that, you're still there for them, and, just God will give us that strength. But it's just that, not falling into that phase of, feeling guilty, but just, striking a balance.
So for me, what I would say is motherhood is not easy, and it shouldn't be. Because if it is, if you find motherhood easy, you're probably not doing something right. You're raising destinies. You're raising children that are going to be leaders of tomorrow. So it's not a walk in the park. You have to invest in your children. You have to be intentional. Good motherhood is a mother that is intentional about what you want to see in the life of your children. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of hard work. We don't know it all, which is why there's a lot of resources out there as mothers. Don't just, because if you don't develop yourself, you're not intentional about the kind of mother you want to be, you're just going to slide into how you were parented, and you will see yourself, even the things you didn't like, how you are treated growing up, you see yourself practicing those things. So it's very, very important that we equip ourselves. There are lots of books out there on parenting that we need to read. We don't know it all. Our Bible is there to guide us. Bible also, it says that if you leave a child left on their own, it will bring disgrace to their mother. So children cannot teach them. So you don't leave children on their own. It's a lot of hard work for you. You're bringing them up the way you want them to be. It won't be easy. But what I will say is, whatever you do, let it be out of love as a mother. So the children need to know, they have to have the understanding, they have to be that relationship, that bond, so that even if you're punishing them, when you're disciplining them, they know that you're doing it out of love because you want the best for them. And always use the scripture. Now, the time I have, like I said before, I have 4 children. I have, a teenager, and then I have a little girl. But so as a parent, you have to evolve. The same way you treat your teenager is not the same way you're going to treat your 9-year-old. So they have to be, you have to adapt your parenting skills. You have to adapt your parenting skills when they're getting older. So at some certain age, I remember when I used to. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to say it, but I used to, when my kid was little, I used to shout because I feel like they will hear him. That's how I was doing. I was brought up. You feel like when you shout, they will hear that, they will hear you. But trust me, no, nobody hears you when you're shouting. So I had to learn, and I did that through listening to reading podcasts. I had to learn to speak to my children the way God speaks to us, because God speaks to us in a very calm and so if they do something wrong, bring them. Let them know, hold them in their shoulder. One of them used to hold them in their shoulder and look them in their eyes. this is not who you want to be. So they know that it's coming from instead of shouting the whole house down. I remember one day my son told me, "Mommy, why are you always shouting?" When he was about 6, and that took me a step back, and I prayed, say, Holy Spirit, help me. I don't want to be this kind of mom that is always shouting, because nobody's, you're not going to get that teaching that you want them to. It has to get those teachable moments. And when you start shouting, you've lost that. So it's about recognizing, as a mom, you don't know it all. Try and invest in yourself. Try to learn. Try to listen to podcast, read your you cannot give what you don't have. You don't expect your children to, because the parents that we see, some parents is do as I say, not do as I do. So your children do what they see you do. You can tell them to do A. If you're doing B, trust me, they're going to do B. So I think it's about investing in yourself, because you cannot teach them the right thing if you don't know what that right thing is. Invest in yourself. Know what is it that the kind of parent you want to be. Be intentional about A, and let them know that you love them unconditional, no matter what.
And yeah, just to add to that as well, good motherhood for me is a mother that is able to be there for the child physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. You have to be intentional. I love that they used that word already. You have to be intentional about all of this. And I like that you talked about having a teenager and then having a young one. And so for each child, I feel like every child would be different. I don't think I got much of that from my upbringing, which is quite similar with every other African. You speak to another, the same thing with chop beating, all of us. But there are some children that you really don't need to beat. There are some children you might need to raise your voice a little bit more. So you need to be intentional and study every child. The approach you would use for A would be different for B, but all in all, make sure that you are there for them physically, psychologically, emotionally, and that's it. And spiritually. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of this meeting, and I just want to ask just one final question, because Pastor Bimpe talked about being able to combine work with family. I think for me, that's also a very key emerging crisis that mothers are facing today. And this will be pursuing your own personal career, pursuing your God-given purpose, and also pursuing family stability. So how are you able to balance all of this? So it's not just you going to work, it's you doing ministry, it's you being a mother, being a wife. So, and you kept saying balance, find a balance. I think for me, I don't really know how to find a balance, for instance. So what specific way will you advise mothers out there? How are they able to find this balance? You are working, you are a mother, you are a wife, you are also in ministry. It's hard for me. I just got married. I'm just 2 months in as a married man. And it's hard for me because I actually thought I had everything under my control. But today she tells me, man, you have to think about me as well. So I'm thinking ministry is there, school is there, my wife is there. So imagine if I become a father as well. That becomes so much responsibilities. So because young people out there need to hear this. How can they find this balance? As a mother, how do we find this balance? Because it's very important for us to learn. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, if I'm to start, sorry, because I started it right. And I think that I'm going to make it sound simple, but that's literally what it is for me. Just seize every opportunity. Every opportunity that you can get, you seize to create this bond. If there's so many things that you can do. The days when you have days off, if they're off, maybe they're on holiday from school, you can use that time to maybe go to the park. There are things that you would have seen that they enjoy. Do those things with them. There are things that we do. My girls, for example, they like for us to read to them before they go to bed. That's an opportunity. Sometimes I'm very tired and I look at my husband and he goes and he does it, and sometimes he's always saying you need to I know you're tired, but you need to just, you understand. So it's just that seizing every opportunity. The Bible also says, it says train up a child in the way that you should go, and if you grow up, he won't depart from it. So it's just every opportunity to talk to them, every opportunity opportunity you have, ask questions, try and understand what they enjoy, try and understand, the things. I don't know if it was Sister Chinelo, someone who mentioned, the fact that, I think it was you who said that your boy said that why are you always shouting, so these are clues for us to also look back and see what are the things that I'm doing that they don't like, so it's just in those little things that you quickly correct, and that's where you're forming that bond, because if we are always shouting, what happens is of course they stay in a way, they're not able to talk to you, so there's always that reminding them, you can always talk to me. There are the things that, they would say that would, on a normal day, you want to shout and, you understand, you want to shout and, make it look big, but there are certain things that, my daughter would say to me and, probably think that I would be angry and, scream, and she would just be surprised at the way I would respond and say, don't, just don't do that again, and things like that. And, my daughter, Aura, the other day, she was talking to my husband and, telling him about, something that I did, so, and, no, it wasn't even bad. It was a good one, and I just wanted to share it. And so what happened was I'd boiled 3 eggs, so one for me, one for Shan, one for Aura. My husband was not at home, so that's why it's 3, we are 4, and obviously I didn't say that this is, it's meant to be one, for each of us. So Shan went there, she took us, and then of course Aura, but then I went there and where is mine? And then what happened was Aura dropped hers, and then she picked it up and put it in the bin, and then took mine. Of course she didn't know it was mine, but she took it, so she felt really bad when I said where is mine, and she felt so, and that's Aura, she can take, my youngest, she could take things to add so much, and she felt really bad, and and I knew that she felt so bad, and she felt like as though the way she felt, as though that egg should just come out of her and just back there so that mommy can eat. And I don't remember the song now, but and I said to her, I said, look, that I don't care if you dropped the egg in the bin. I don't care if you ate my egg. All I care is that you're here with me today. And I think I just said it because even me, I didn't even remember. I just said it out of just so that just to, because I knew she felt so bad, and she remembered, and about a week later she was telling my dad, and I was like, oh wow, okay. So it's just those, so those are the things. That's what I just want to mention, that those little things, it goes a long way for people who you feel that you're not always there, you're working a lot, you're probably missing some of the activities. I missed a few activities in school that always break my heart, but there are then other things that you can just do just to show them that, look, I am still your mom, I love you so much, I care about you, and you can always come to me, you can always talk to me. Don't think I would smack you down or scream when you do things. Whatever it is, just come and talk to me.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. So I love that, Sister Beams. I think cherish every moment you have with them. And what I would say is that we need to be also know what our priorities are, because we don't be too absorbed in doing other, because our family, they're our ministry. So don't be too absorbed in doing every other thing and then neglecting your, what you need to be doing as well. Because we have I've seen a lot of men of God, and I've had experience as well. Sorry, I've seen like first class how some children of men of God were targeted. And because they're probably too busy with the work, with the ministry, they haven't really noticed what is happening in their own family until they got too late. So I think it's also very good. We have to know what our priorities are. Work-life balance is very important. And communication, they are children, they understand. They need to know their parents need to work. So they have that communication. I work from home most of the time. So my daughter, she's my timekeeper. And I always tell her, if I'm still at work, if I'm still on my laptop 6 p.m., you're allowed to come out of it. So we have to have that work-life balance. We are working. Yes, we have to work. If I don't work, you're not going to have all this. You're not going to live in this house. You're not going to have food to eat. So they need to know that parents have to work, because for them, when they're old as well, they know that. So you can't be there all the time. But have that communication with them. If they're having a program in school, you're not going to be there because I have to work. I will explain to them, I'm really sorry. I won't be able to come because I have this. If I can, I will be there. Have that communication, that open communication, and cherish those moments. Like you said, family times is my family, we have family times. every night we all sit down. My husband is at work, that's fine. But every Sunday, everybody's at home. We sit down and talk about our week. Have the family time, know what's going on in their life. Like you're saying, you're dropping aura. Anytime you're spending with them together, find out who are their friends. Let them know that you're interested in their life. Let them know that you care. Do the things that they enjoy to do. I don't like playing football, but I go and play football with my boys. Oh God, when I finish, I lie down the bed. But they love football, so we go to the park. I will play football when my dad is not, because my dad works more than me. So we go during my break, during half time, we go and we play football. And then my leg will not recover for another 1 week. But they love it. My daughter, she loves her own thing. So find out what they love to do. Do it with them. Play with them. Play, have fun as a family. So even if you're not spending all the time with them, those little ones you spend, let it matter. Let it be of substance, and they will not forget those times.
Wow.
And again, just to add to that, a classic example, I would say myself. My dad was a pilot growing up, a captain. So, of course, he was always traveling. He was never around as much as my mom. But guess what? It didn't feel like there was a difference because every time he was around was worthwhile. Like I felt that my dad was there. So even if he would travel for weeks and he's back and travel again, he was there. The time he had, he made it count. So I agree with them. Those moments, you want to make sure that they count. And then also, parents, don't be too hard on yourself. There is no such thing as a perfect parent. Do your best, give your best, and try to balance. For me, for example, currently I have schedules. I use calendar. Like there's nothing you would not find on my calendar or my phone because I forget things a lot. So it's like the thing would just pop up: Wins appointment, husbands is doing it. Like I put everything up, like literally to be able to manage my home. I literally just put everything on a calendar so that I can keep up to date with everything. And that's just it. You can work, you can multitask, but in all of this, remember God. This is part of the drama that we're trying to do. But basically, you just remember God in all of this. Go back to God and cast all of your burdens and your fears. Give it back to God. He won't. There's this saying that He won't give you something too much that you cannot bear or carry. He won't. So if you have all of this and you feel overwhelmed, just take it slow. Be patient. Take it one at a time. Literally one step at a time, and you'll get there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I would just summarize a few things. I've learned a lot from this conversation we've had. We've said it's okay to make mistakes, and she used a powerful word that there is no perfect mom. I don't think such a person exists. It's just a mom who wants to learn, who wants to improve herself, who cares about our children or our child. And we just want to say thank you for coming around today. And for our listeners, our viewers, thank you for sticking by us till this time. And I would like to actually close the session by saying, like Sister Chinelo rightly said, she said, get help, get resources, listen to people, get experience. You still have your parents, you have positive role models that you can emulate. Ask questions whenever you're confused, and there is God who is always there. And the beautiful thing about God is that you don't need to schedule an appointment to meet Him. He's ever there, ever willing to help. In fact, He wants the best for that child or for your children or for your family, even more than you think or more than you even desire. So God is always there for us. I just would like to thank you also, my co-host for today. Oh God, it's been a good ride. Thank you so much for sticking by us. And motherhood is so beautiful for me. Like Ina has rightly said, my mom means a lot to me, and it's quite interesting to see how moms, when we were babies, these song guys who sat and watched my infant head
sleeping on my cradle,
and the tears of sweet affection shed my mother. Oh, mommy!
Somebody's missing mommy.
It's quite funny that as children we couldn't talk, but they heard us speak. That's the beauty and the power in motherhood. Like, what's this trying to communicate, even with that child talking orally? It's quite powerful. And I think if you have your mom around, please give them something nice. Just say, Mom, even if you can't give them something, just say, I love you. Thank you for all this sacrifices you've made. Thank you. And if you have your sister or your whatever, I mean,
Celebrate.
your wife, this married man, treat your wife, please. I'll ask her.
Please do.
And if your mom is not around, probably she's passed away or something. I mean, it's good to have the reminiscence and also be grateful for your mom. And then treat every woman you come across greatly. I mean, just treat them with respect and with the value due them. And thank you so much, everyone. And please remember to share our content, watch our content, subscribe, like, listen, share with your friends, do everything you want to do with it. And God bless you. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank
Bye.
you.
God bless you. Bye.